Welcome back, everyone, to another Eat Speak Live, the most delicious live stream in the Metroplex. I'm Bud Kennedy.
And Steve Wilson.
For this is the 80th year for Campisi's Pizza to be serving up great pizzas to Dallas and Fort Worth. It's been in Fort Worth more than 10 years. We're this show is on the eve of Valentine's Day, so we'll talk a little bit about Valentine's, but it doesn't have to be Valentine's to have a Campisi's Pizza. So our guest today is David Campisi.
Thank you, Bud. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Now, David, how long have you been with Campisi's?
Well, I was born in 1968, so I say I've been hanging around Campisis for about 56 years.
And how have you seen Campisi's change over that time?
Well, we've changed in some ways, but my grandfather's philosophy was if it ain't broken, don't fix it. So when we were scaling Campisis, we started in 1993, expanding. Now we have 10 locations, and more importantly, we've kept the quality exactly the same. We've gone back from we all of our recipes were standardized. We 86'd all that. We went back to our original recipes. So everything at Campisi's is small batched. So that's really kept the quality and the consistency of our original recipes that we've been using for 80 years.
Now, the Campisi's in Fort Worth is at 6150 Camp Bowie in Ridgely Village on the west side of Fort Worth. The probably the most familiar location for everybody is on Mockingbird in Dallas near Greenville Avenue, where it says Campisi's Egyptian, and a lot of people don't understand what the whole Egyptian thing is. You need to tell us that story.
Well, Bud, the American dream, my great grandfather came here from Rocamena through the port of New Orleans. Most of the Italians back in the early 1900s went to the port in New York, Ellis Island. My family came through the port of New Orleans, and my great grandfather and grandmother worked in mills. They saved their money and they got in a grocery store business. So, grocery store business, beer joint. We ended up buying actually our first, after the grocery store, our first brick and mortar was at Knox and McKinney Avenue, where Chewy's is. And then we moved to Mockingbird Lane. That was so far North Dallas. People couldn't believe we were moving that far, but it was a lounge. It was called the Egyptian Lounge. And we didn't have enough money to change the sign, so we just added Campisi's on it, so it became Campisi's Egyptian Restaurant.
We'll talk about pizza in a minute, but I need to point out that 1946 year is important because soldiers were coming back from Italy. My father was a mess cook with the 45th Division up through Anzio beaches, through Sicily, up through Italy, up all the way into Germany, Switzerland. Soldiers from Texas and Oklahoma were coming back from Italy. They wanted the food like they had in Italy, going through Italy, and so 1946, the 50s for places in Fort Worth like Margie's, which is about to reopen. This is when you started seeing pizza and Italian restaurants come to Dallas Fort Worth post-war years to serve soldiers who were back from the war.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're exactly right, Bud. Our pizza recipe is my great grandmother's bread recipe. Um, Most people would say marinara sauce. We'd say marinara sauce, but that marinara sauce was our original sauce that derived into us adding it to our pizza. Back then, one of our bars, we sold pizza pies, and someone said, "Joe, you must lost your mind. Nobody's going to eat a pie ordering a beer." And he's like, no, this is different. This is a pizza pie. It has red sauce and cheese. So a lot of our recipes have stayed the same, and that's been it.
Now, talk about Campisi's menu. People think of Campisi's in different ways. People think of it as a couple's date with wine and pastas and even the steak Italiano. That's what they'll do for Valentine's Day. But other people think of it as a place to take the kids' soccer team for pizza. So talk
Yes,
about the
sir.
menu and what the best things are on the menu.
Well, our menu is evolved in somewhat. Now we have a new great grilled pork chop with some sauteed fresh spinach. That's a big hit lately. Um, but at Campisi's, we've always tried to keep them all.
Well, it looks like we've lost our pizza. The the pork chop
Yeah, I
knocked
mean,
him right out. Let's see if he, let's see while he gets back here. Steve,
yeah,
do you have I know we need to talk about Campisis and tap dance for a little bit here. I'll just say that we've been to Campisis a couple of times lately. We hadn't been a long time, and Shelley and I have gone just for fun. We took a couple from Dallas there. They were thrilled to get to go to Campisis in Fort Worth, and because they think so, but they have a life of going out to the much older one on Mockingbird. And then, gosh, the pizzas, they're everybody knows they're different. They're oblong, they're thick, crisp, but they're piled high with toppings. They come in several sizes, and they are the real Sicilian pizza. And they most of all, there are little tricks to ordering the pizza at Campisi's. You have, I think they have salami instead of pepperoni. I think David can fill us in on that. But my wife likes
yeah,
veggie pizzas. The veggie pizzas are really piled high with veggies. We get a olive and mushroom and jalapeno, and even the people who usually like the meat pizzas like that. So David's
mhm,
back. I was trying to talk about your pizza without knowing too
Yeah.
much about it. I was trying to explain the salami pepperoni thing and what people
Well,
need to know when they order a pizza.
so the number one pizza topping in the world is pepperoni. Well, we never sold pepperoni until the 90s when we started opening up satellite stores. It was a huge education for our guests because we added pepperoni, but the learning curve was we were like, would you like traditional pepperoni or would you like our version of pepperoni? It's salami that's square. And they're like, no, we've been ordering pepperoni for 30 years. We're like, no, when you just order pepperoni, we just put salami on there. But our salami is hand cut and it's not as greasy as pepperoni. So we've always believed it was a better cut of meat. That's on our signature all the way pizza, the sausage, salami, mushroom, onions, green pepper. Our sausage, all of our items are made daily. So, our small batch cooking, Bud, our meatballs are still hand rolled every single morning. Our sausage is linked with casings every morning. So our food quality's there. Price points are great. Right now with Campisi's, our model's changed after COVID. It's about 50-50 of our P-mix, 50% delivery out the back door and about 50% of on-premise. So we're really working today to increase that on-premise dining experience. We think that we can exceed our guests' expectation with high touches at a moderately priced. So when you ask me if we've changed, I never thought in my life we'd ever use a third-party delivery component. That's been a huge component that's increased our sales dramatically. But it's a behavior thing also. So we've added a third-party delivery. We think we're like the Jetsons. All of a sudden, we're doing open table reservations. So
That's good.
we are open to some different growths, but we're really using technology. It's out there. It's time for us to use it. One of our big pushes right now, Bud, is to get that on-premise revenue back. So it's real high touches with our steps of service. So we're in the middle of using a software with more of a micro-learning attitude, micro-learning to help these candidates. The candidates we're getting today are not like the candidates we used to get years ago. No disrespect, but most people don't know how to talk anymore. So we're really going back to blocking and tackling and teaching people how to hold their belly button in, how to smile, how to talk. We really think that emotional intelligence that we can add with our food quality is going to take us to the next century.
It does feel like a high level of service. And I mean, you talk about the technology, and that's what works because that's what made Shelley and I come back a few weeks ago. Was when I was looking at Open Table, looking for a place to take a couple, and we said, well, let's just go. Here's Campisi's. Let's just go to Campisi's. So
You're
I
right.
know that Open Table makes a lot of money off the reservations, and Resi and Talk do too. But it's the way you get somebody to look at you and think about you and remember that you're there when they're looking at 30 other restaurants. If they see your
Right.
name, that
Well,
that makes a
the
big difference.
yes, sir. The old operators, especially in Italian, man, you're just watching every penny and whatnot. But we're really not. We didn't really buy a reservation software. We really bought a data company. So we're
Mhm.
actually. I don't want to give you all my secrets, but joking.
yeah,
We're learning. We're learning how to take all of our customer information, and we have a brand new CRM program that we're doing. So we're really trying to use technology without taking away the high touches, the handshakes and hellos that we've been so famous for all these years.
Are you saying you mined my data? Do you know what I bought from Amazon yesterday or anything?
What's that?
Oh, okay. Never
No, but
just
I
because
know.
I ordered on a good table.
No, but I know when you leave Campisi's, I know where you go.
Okay, well, that's good. Now, talk about what people should order. You showed us the pork chop, but talk about what you tell people to get. It's their first time to Campisi's. What do you tell them to get off the main menu, and then what pizza do you tell them to get?
Well, everything is so fresh and so homemade. Our small dinner salads are just fabulous. That touch of that Romano cheese with our olive oil and vinegar is just a great way to start a meal. Love our Joe's toast, even our house bread. We have a great La Brea bread that we bring out to the table. I love our red sauce, our suga. Some people call it gravy. That's made daily. Small batch. It's fabulous. If you're a red sauce junkie, it's just so good. It's got a little hint of sweetness. I love our meatballs. We use fresh mint in our meatballs, so that sweetness you get, so fresh mint in our meatball, and then the fennel seed we use in our homemade Italian sausage is just a great mixture. Love our chicken. We have small birds. We know exactly where our birds come from. We know what they ate. We're just real big in the quality of our food, Bud, as you know. But we're a red sauce joint. We're not trying to be anything else. But one of our signature items that really put us on the map was our sauteed crab claws. We do a small crab sauteed in a lemon butter with fresh lemon juice with our Joe's toast to dip in that great butter. It just really, that's a great meal in itself. But our pizzas, I'm an all away guy. Love the Soprano right there. That's made to order. Great Roma tomatoes in that, a little hint of red pepper so you get a little spiciness. But I couldn't tell you what is my favorite, but love our New York strips. New York strip grilled to perfection with a little butter and cremini mushrooms and a side of our old-fashioned cottage fries that make you want to slap somebody.
Now, I tell people that, before if they're looking for a steak, to think about the steak at Campisi's. It's always been good. What
Yeah.
and the price point we're talking about is $15 to $20 for some of these dinners.
Yes,
Low
sir.
low 20s. You're very competitive with chain corporate Italian restaurants. You're very competitive with other family restaurants. I mean, the price point is lower than what you expect to find in the better Italian restaurant, nicer
Right.
night out kind of places. So
Well,
you can
again,
feed more people. Your dollar goes further at Campisi's.
correct. And all of our entrees come with the salad and bread. Most of these Italian joints now, everything's a la carte. So our price points are way below that. But we just want to feed everybody and consumers, we just want to be the neighborhood staple of everybody.
Steve, I'm yakking away. Do you want to ask him about the barbecue pizza or anything? You have any?
Well, I'm at those crab claws. I remember those. Have you had those a long time? It seems like.
Yes, we've served those for as long as I remember.
Uh-huh. That because I was mentioning before the show that actually have been there in a while because I've started getting into making my own pizzas at home with a couple of pizza ovens. But looking at all the different the different types of food, there's a lot of things that are not pizza. What
Yeah,
like such a
Steve, we're really not a pizza joint anymore.
Mhm.
We're a full red sauce Italian Sicilian restaurant. As you saw in some of those pictures, fresh salmon. We get our salmon and fillets. We hand cut them daily, so we have a great. It's not just the carboholics coming to Campisis. You got a lot of great new proteins and fish, fresh vegetables. But all we're really trying to do is do what we've done for over 80 years, and it's exceed our guest expectation. Our competitors all have customers. We don't have customers at Campisis. We have guests, and our along with our training program, we're all about handshakes and hellos, and we want to treat you as we would treat you in our home. So it starts with behavior, and look at Fort Worth. One of my most valuable assets there is, and he's my best marketer at any company, is Austin Underwood. Austin's been a staple in Fort Worth. He has Down syndrome that he's just been a gift to us. but he resonates what Campisi is all about. When you come in one time, we know your name, we take care of you, and we just want you to come back and be happy.
We were talking before the show, you talked about the happy hour in the bar. I guarantee, I tell people, if you're looking for somebody on the west side, you can't find them. If you look in the bar at Michael's, at the bar at Lucille's, and then at Campisi's, you'll find them in one of those three.
Absolutely. Well, we have this great happy hour from 5 to 7, Monday through Friday, but also we want to have value with a great experience. So on Mondays and Tuesdays, we have half price wine every Monday and Tuesday at all the Campisis. And on Wednesdays, we have $5 Ruffino Chianti all day. And then on Tuesday nights, we've done this forever, and we need to let the word out about this. We have a spaghetti Tuesday night, $8.99 for spaghetti and red sauce, salad and bread. You can't go to McDonald's for $8.
And goodness. So Tuesday, there's the wine.
Tuesday, half price wine and cheap spaghetti.
Yeah.
You can come in there and
Tuesday's today. Tuesday's today.
Tuesday's the day.
Tuesday's the day Steve is going.
Yes. Well, I stole this from El Phoenix. They've had the enchiladas for 100 years on Tuesdays, so we copied them many moons ago on that. But what we found is this is the value and the experience. For me to just get you in, like our P-Mix has changed. That 50% off the door. And the whole behavior of consumers, Bud, as you know, has changed since this pandemic. But we're really pushing to get folks back in the dining rooms. And we are getting that. We're getting a lot of convention business, downtown Dallas. We're getting cheerleaders and volleyball teams and big corporate events. So we're back to normal.
Are those wine and spaghetti specials in all locations?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all the time. And let's see, Fort Worth, I mean, it's mostly pizza delivery, right? When you talk about half the business being delivery, it's people all over everywhere want Campisi's pizzas brought out.
Yes, sir, but it's not pizzas anymore. Not to say I was a pioneer of this, but in 1993, there was only two things you could get delivered. You could get Chinese food and pizza. I was like, hey, why don't we evolve into having our full menu with full delivery? Yeah. And we kind of created that model in 1993. Well, guess what? Everybody's doing it now. Yeah. But we've been delivering steaks and chicken and all that since the 90s.
Yeah, I remember showing off when you started and having steaks and burgers brought out along with a pizza for somebody, and they said, "Well, I didn't know you could get this delivered." I remember there was
right.
When you started here, probably right after you opened in Fort Worth. Well,
sure.
Now, gosh, I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but David, I know the history, and I know that you are that you celebrate a lot of the history of the restaurant. So. They're going to release another 3,000 JFK papers, or are we going to see any more Campisi names?
I knew you were going to say that, but I'm ready for you now. I'm ready for you. Well, I wouldn't.
Oh, we cut out just at an opportune time.
Yeah. But he did that on purpose.
Harry, he's back. All right.
Okay. That was Jack Ruby's people calling me. Just
call it right in.
Well, anyway, as you know, Bud, you haven't in any line of business, we have just a great story. Some true, some not true. But we always say when your last name ends in a vowel, you probably are held to different standards. So, that whole mystique of JFK and whatnot, I would encourage the public to read the Warren Report. My grandfather, was in that Warren Report, and you can pull it up and read it. It never got really anywhere. My grandfather never had to go testify in Washington or whatnot. But again, back in those days, Dallas was so small. You had the Carousel Club, you had Campisis. You only had a couple of joints in town. So my grandfather knew everybody. But the joke was, I guess you would say, they'd say, man, if your grandfather was in the mob, they'd have killed him everywhere because he talked way too much. So, but we are, not to say bad publicity is good publicity, but when you get your name out there in today's world, it just resonates to whatnot. But, we'll just stick to our food and Italian food, but all these rumors and mystiques, they're still around.
Yeah. That's been a long time. It's been 60 years, and it's a great story. And I mean, gosh, there's people like Tillman Fertitta who have a lot more recent history who have pretty high positions. So
Sure,
I
sure.
don't think anybody's worried about Campisis anymore. Now it is fun to go back and read all the old stories.
Yeah.
So,
But you know what, really, Bud, myself and our family, and when I say our family, I'm speaking of the 350 people that work with us. We don't call them employees. We call them family members. And one thing that I can honestly say from my heart is we're just a community leader, and we just outreach, and we're blessing people. We're blessing people every day. I told my marketing team, I'm like, can y'all not start like capturing all the stuff we're giving away? We just give so sacrificial. I mean, we just sacrifice and just give to the community and take care of so many people. Not trying to get accolades from that, but we know what we do in the community, and we're very proud of it.
before we get away, anything else you want to do next in Fort Worth, or what's next as far as offerings or hours or marketing or some pitch we've got? I guess we've got Colonial Golf, Clyburn Piano, and then another TCU season coming up. But what's
Right.
coming up for the Fort Worth store?
Well, we've done a great job of building those relationships. You know, Sonny Dykes and I went to college together. Not saying he cheated off of me, but Sonny's been great. We've been feeding the team a lot, working with their dietitians. We've been doing a lot of stuff with TCU that we wouldn't even tell anybody, but that's been a lot of fun. As you know, Bud, when I first came to Fort Worth, the first thing I did is went to the Colonial and asked them if I could play in the member guest, and they were like, "Oh, we're full." And I'm like, "Hey, I'm new to town, love golf." So that's been a great relationship. So back to what I was saying is we're really just trying to get back in the community and let people know that how much we appreciate. We've been in Fort Worth since 2013, and your mayor, our opening night, I never I kind of laugh about it, but our pizza boxes said Dallas. She's like, "This ain't gonna fly, baby. You got to get the, you got to put." So we started, putting our Dallas Fort Worth. But I can say that we are so proud to be in Fort Worth. But I have to be careful saying this because I have a lot of ties in Fort Worth. But I could live in Fort Worth in a New York minute. I could really. I love Fort Worth.
Yeah, you better watch about the mayor. She lives way too close to your restaurant.
Oh, I know. I see her a lot. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely,
She'll
absolutely.
she'll she'll punt that pizza box right down there. Well,
Well,
you've been
we cured it.
Yeah, yeah, you've been part of there are more businesses and restaurants who have come to Camp Bowie too because you've helped keep the interest and keep the neighborhood going and draw people to Middle Camp Bowie. It's kind of having a little renaissance now with the western end of Camp Bowie and the growth out there. But David
Yeah.
Campisi's been our guest. Campisi's Italian, 6150 Camp Bowie. More than just pizza, David says. So thank you very much for visiting with us. And until next time, I'm Bud Kennedy.
And
Thank you,
Steve
Bud.
Wilson.
Thank you, Bud. Appreciate our friendship, Bud. Thank you, sir.